During a country club party, Sean's friend Jared points out a group of women showing interest in Sean and encourages him to join them. Sean reluctantly obliges, and when interacting with the women, including Candace, he downplays his philanthropic contributions when praised. Outside the club, Allison and her group, including Beth, Jared, and Pascal, covertly distribute flyers to support their park preservation efforts while dodging security. Simultaneously, Sean practices golf inside the club as his father, William, questions him about his attire and discusses Candace's potential utility for their business. Frustrated by his father's insistence on joining the family business, Sean seeks a job that truly ignites his passion. As their conversation ends, William gives Sean an ultimatum: secure a job within a week or work at the family company. Concurrently, Allison decides to target William Payton's car with a flyer. While placing the flyer, she is spotted by security, leading to a chase. Sean, leaving the club, unintentionally aids Allison's escape by providing a distraction. Mistaking him for a valet, Allison enlists his help against the Paytons' destructive business practices. Reassuring his friends, Sean runs off with Allison. Beth and Pascal take refuge in a garage housing golf carts, catching their breath near a food truck outside the club. Introducing themselves, Sean uses the alias Sean Pine to conceal his true identity as Sean Payton. Hidden in the garage, Pascal reveals to Beth that he's new to the area and joined the park-saving initiative after a coworker's recommendation. Feeling relieved about Beth's safety, Allison considers celebrating their escape. Surprised, Sean learns that Allison's vehicle is the food truck she operates. They drive to the park they are trying to save, where Allison details her dual role as a food truck driver and law student. Sean takes over cooking inside the truck to express gratitude for Allison's activism. As Sean prepares grilled cheese sandwiches, Allison, appreciative of his support, offers him a job at the food truck, promising to speak with her boss, Antonia, on his behalf. Sean agrees to think it over. As the evening concludes, Sean requests Allison to drop him off at a distance from his house. Upon returning home, Beth reveals to Allison that Pascal has asked her out, prompting Allison to tease her about her growing number of admirers. Feeling unsure about dating two people, Allison suggests that Beth take time to get to know both. The next morning, Allison rushes to work and is surprised to see that Sean has already secured a job there, having impressed their boss, Antonia, with a chocolate souffle. Intrigued by the high-end equipment Sean brought, Allison learns it was a graduation gift he hadn't used until now. Glad to have a cordon bleu graduate on the team, Antonia contemplates enhancing their business with a mobile app inspired by Sean's suggestion. As the lunch rush begins, Beth is visited by Caden at her bookstore cafe. He checks on her after the accident and proposes a makeup date, which Beth welcomes by inviting him to a poetry reading. Touched by his ongoing support for the park-saving petition, Beth feels grateful. During a busy period at the food truck, Allison hesitates but eventually accepts Sean's help with the petition. Together, they gather signatures around town to prevent the park from being turned into a strip mall. Back at the bookstore, Pascal visits Beth, who is anxious about her poetry reading. Pascal's experience with poetry excites Beth, and she invites him to read at the event. Beth receives flirtatious encouragement from Pascal as she shares a poem she's written for the reading. Meanwhile, Sean's signature gathering is disrupted when Candace appears unexpectedly, inquiring about his activities. Sean concocts a story about conducting confidential fieldwork for his father and reluctantly agrees to a lunch meeting with her. Allison, wary of Candace's motives, confronts Sean, suspecting a connection to Payton Enterprises. Despite Sean's assurances that Candace is just a concerned citizen, Allison's doubts persist. Returning home late, Sean faces his father's questions about his whereabouts. Sean describes his new role as a head chef, omitting its location at a food truck and fabricating the establishment's prestige. Skeptical, William demands proof of employment, and their conversation is interrupted by a phone call. At Beth's poetry reading, tension arises as both Pascal and Caden attend. Pascal's poetry fails to impress Beth, and her disappointment grows when Caden arrives late with flowers after losing track of time collecting signatures. Despite the initial awkwardness, Beth appreciates Caden's efforts and the substantial number of signatures Pascal gathered. In another scene, at the bar, Sean confides in Jared about his efforts to preserve the park and uphold his grandfather's legacy, even though it might upset his father. Jared wonders when Sean plans to reveal his true identity to Allison, but Sean feels it's still too early for such revelations.